Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Chin-Quee Chats, the bitesized podcast where we talk movies, sports, and everything in between. I am your host, Matthew Chin-Quee, and today I'm by myself again. Now, I know I said that I would have a guest this week, but he had to drop out due to an emergency, so I'm by myself again. And this is just going to be an episode like last week, just going to be a review. It's summer movie season. There's going to be a lot of big blockbusters, and this week War of the Planet of the Apes came out, and that is the Apes series has been one of my favorite blockbuster series, one of my favorite summer movie series to come out in the past few years. So I was going to do a review of that, and then go into free chat. This is all solo, so without any further ado, let's get into the cinema chat. So like last week, I really want to start with the negatives because, vegetables and all that, I want to get it out of the way. And I'm going to be honest, there aren't a lot of negatives I have for this film. When I first saw it, I will admit I was a little bit disappointed coming out of it. I still loved it, but the previous films, both Rise and Dawn, I hold at almost near perfect films. And that's not saying they're the Godfather or anything, or anything revolutionary to cinema. And story-wise, technology-wise, they very well may be revolutionary because the CGI and the mocap and the VFX that they do in these films are top-notch. But putting that aside, both Rise and Dawn were some of my favorite movies in their respective years. I believe Dawn in 2014 remained my top 10 from the minute I saw it, and they are 5 out of 5s for me. So I had ridiculously high expectations, especially hearing the reviews, hearing all the praise that this movie was getting. I was really excited going in, and I came out a little bit disappointed, and that's not because there are huge, really bad moments or bad story beats, but there are a few small issues. In the context of the movie, they're small, but they still really bother me because of the way that they are presented in the film. And as I said, I will be talking spoilers, so this is your second warning and your last one. But one of the biggest problems I have is, this may sound silly, just a nitpick, but the security guards in the camp, it doesn't make any sense. And before people come saying, but talking apes don't make sense, there's a difference between suspending disbelief for talking apes and suspending disbelief for the world that was presented in it. Because these soldiers, they've been fighting for 2 years against these apes, so they should know what they're dealing with. They should know what to look out for. And throughout the film, whether it's Nova walking into the camp, whether it's Caesar and Rocket escaping from the pen and then saving their children, I don't see how any guards didn't see them. Now, I know they took out one guard, and I guess maybe it's plausible. I have contrived theories as to why they didn't get caught, but those are just that. They're contrived. They're stretching a little bit, because I don't see why, with so many apes that are stronger than you, are just as smart as you, and they hate you, and you may have beat them down to slavery. You may have beat them down, but that doesn't mean that you have to still watch them. And only having one guard who goes down there and then is subsequently killed, I don't really buy it. Now, I have like I said, I did have some explanations. Maybe they still underestimate them because they think they're stupid, or maybe they were planning. They were all getting rest for the upcoming battle. I still think that's stretching a little bit, and it still bothers me. But other than that, I just went on with the film until the very end. And this is another issue, an issue that I've kind of come to grips with a little bit. And bear in mind, again, these are just nitpicks. There isn't any big thing in the film that really annoys me, that really detracted from my love of this film. And that's the way they handled Caesar's death. Because they established that the journey from their current waterfall home at the beginning to this new sanctuary. It's a far journey. And the journey from their waterfall home to the border to where the colonel is, that's even far. That's quite a distance too. So from the base to the sanctuary, that's got to be far. And you're telling me that Caesar, he got shot with an arrow, with Preacher's arrow, and led all his people out to the sanctuary, out to the promised land. And I will get to that. I did include that Ten Commandments reference for a reason. And he wasn't injured the entire time. Yeah, I know he was holding his side, but he just happens to collapse at the very minute that they get there. That doesn't really make much sense to me either. Granted, after sitting on a little while, I realized, yeah, it's cheesy, it's melodramatic, but this series has earned it. So really, I know I'm playing devil's advocate to myself in a way, but it still doesn't make sense, but I've come to grips with it because I've accepted the fact that they have earned a death for Caesar this well. This series has gone 3 spectacular movies, and they really earn the right to give us that moment. And it's a touching, sad moment. Maurice is struggling to learn how to talk, and Caesar is looking out at his people, at the Apes, and they finally found a good home. So it's an issue, but I've come to grips with it. Now, that's honestly, that's about it for the issues I have. The rest of this film, spectacular. Believe the hype. This movie is amazing. Where to start with the positives? Andy Serkis as Caesar. Now, I know a lot of people not a lot of people. There's a very vocal minority on Andy Serkis and how he tends to brush off the work of the VFX artists, and those guys are incredible. There was a Screen Junkies a video where Andy Signore went to Weta, and they showed him the process of creating the apes, and those guys, they put in a lot of work, and I'm not discrediting them, but Andy Serkis, he does do a lot, and there is a very vocal minority saying that he doesn't do anything, and he's piggybacking off the VFX artists, and I completely disagree. And VFX artists are important. They're very, very important, and without Andy, or without the VFX artists, you wouldn't have Caesar, but without Andy, you wouldn't have Caesar. And maybe another actor could be brought in, but to me, Caesar, or Andy Serkis, he's been in this role. He is a mocap master. There's a reason why they keep coming back to him, and it's not just because of his name, because the VFX artists have said that he is one of the best at his job at mocap. He's great at conveying these emotions. So that's my little rant on just people against Andy Serkis. But anyways, Andy Serkis is great in this film as Caesar. He's the best he's ever been as Caesar, to be honest, because in Rise, he was this innocent, almost a child who had to grow up and face the horrors of reality, and then learn to lead the people who were being oppressed. And Dawn, he had to learn how to deal with betrayal within his own ranks. But in War, this is the one where he's really showing those emotional nuances. Within 10 minutes of the film, you're bawling because of the facial expressions on Caesar's face when he's meeting up with his son, Cornelius, when he finds out he's alive. He doesn't have to say anything. You just look at his face and you see that wave of relief come over him. He's been through a lot, but at least he didn't lose everything. Or even rewinding a little bit, when he realizes that Blue Eyes and Cornelia were killed, and he sees the colonel, and he sees that's the man who killed my family. His face goes from angry and protected them to instant rage. I have to avenge them, and nothing will satisfy me until I kill that colonel. It's spectacular, and I don't see many other actors who could have done this, and Andy Serkis is the best at doing that. The other performances were great. One in particular, in terms of the apes, Karen something. I'm pretty sure she's actually Canadian. Who portrays Maurice. And Maurice actually has a lot to do more, I think, in this film than a lot, because Maurice, the actor is a she. Maurice has a whole other plot line with Nova, how he adopts her, and she's there to help convince Caesar that humanity's not all bad, despite all the horrible things that humanity does in this film. And Nova is literally, and I mean literally, the only good human character. Well, not good as in well written, but like good as in intentions are she's well intentioned in this film. She's the only one who's well intentioned in this film, and it's because of her innocence, but every other human is just they're basically evil. And Maurice has a great plot line, and Karen, whatever her last name is, she does it really well. And then there's Woody Harrelson. Now, Woody Harrelson, we're used to seeing him in comedies. Now, I haven't seen Natural Born Killers, which I heard is spectacular, and it's also kind of haunting, similar to The Colonel, but it's kind of fun that he's a serial killer. That I've seen, as morbid as that sound, or I've heard as morbid as that sounds. But for me, I'm used to seeing Woody Harrelson as this dude that's just showing up to set high, and he's really fun, like Zombieland. It's kind of serious but joking at the same time, stuff like that. And then from the minute he's in this film, he's a menacing, ruthless killer. He's a fanatic. Well, not a fanatic, but he's very driven. The one scene where it's almost an expositional scene, but I really like it because it showcases, one, Woody's acting, two, the intentions of this character and his backstory, and three, just how far this character has gone. And he is a great villain because you not only can almost sympathize with him, you can understand where he's coming from, but he's also insane, and he believes what he's doing is right, and he is on this almost crusade. His path has become clear. He has nothing in his way. He is ruthless. He will do anything to get his to reach his goal of saving humanity, and he believes that he is writing history that's evidenced in the amount of times history is written on the wall. And I think it's the greatest villain that this series has had. And the first film's villain wasn't all that great. There wasn't even really one clear villain. It was really about the journey of the apes to becoming intelligent. But Don Koba is a great villain as well. But I think the Colonel's even better. I really liked Woody Harrelson's performance. While we're talking about just performances and spoken dialogue, another one of the aspects of this film that I really enjoyed was the lack of spoken dialogue. This film, it is visual storytelling at its best. And when I say at its best, I mean in context of a high-profile blockbuster film, because there's great indie films that use visual storytelling that are almost silent films. And from what I hear, Dunkirk is like that as well. Dunkirk has like 40 something lines of spoken dialogue, and that's it. And this film doesn't have too many spoken lines of dialogue either. This film a lot of it is sign language, so a lot of it is reading, but a lot of it is facial expressions. And I'm going right back to Circus. Circus's ability to convey emotions through just his face. And Woody Harrelson does that spectacularly as well. The end scene, it's about a 5-minute scene between Caesar and the Colonel, where the Colonel has become infected and he loses his ability to speak, and you can see the fear in his eyes. He's hated himself for what he's become. At this time he needs Caesar. He needs Caesar to kill him. And he's pleading, and Caesar's struggling. You can see the hatred, but also the sorrow in his eyes. Everything that he's gone through. He doesn't know if he's going to make it out alive, and he can't bring himself to shoot a man in cold blood, or else he'll become Koba, or he'll become even the Colonel. And that's another thing that Caesar's struggling with the entire movie. But the silent aspect of that stare down, it's beautiful. And it's accompanied by a great score by Michael Giacchino, and I tore him to shreds last episode, but he's great in this film. So maybe he rushed Spider-Man, or maybe he just didn't care. But his score is great in this one. There's specific themes. There's Caesar's theme. There's Nova's theme, and he brought stuff back from the other movies. The leitmotifs that I've talked about before, the themes that are attributed with specific characters. He brought that back. But the way this film tells the story just through a visual medium is something that you don't see in many blockbusters anymore. It's incredible. Now, finally, just as my last major positive, I want to talk about the amount of homages in this film. Now, this film is called War of the Planet of the Apes, but other than the first 20 minutes, there isn't much fighting. It's really... I saw a comment that said it's internment camp of the Planet of the Apes, and it really is, because while there is a war technically going on between them, Caesar and the apes spend most of the time in an internment camp, and it's what is essentially a concentration camp, a slavery camp, and you see those elements of other films, of Ben-Hur, of Ten Commandments. And granted, I haven't seen a lot of these classic films that they are homaging to, or that Matt Reeves is paying homage to, and I have seen some people saying that it's a little bit too much. But for me, being an uneducated idiot who has not seen a lot of these films, and I do mean to at time, I don't have much time. Oh no, poor me, I don't have much time to watch a movie. But anyways, I haven't seen a lot of the films that war was paying homage to. It didn't bother me, and yet you can see the clear symbolisms and the lessons that this film is trying to teach. And that's what the series has been doing ever since the 60s, 1968, I think, when Planet of the Apes has come out. The films have been about class systems and trying to send a message, and this one is sending a message, or I don't want to say paying homage to the Holocaust, because that doesn't sound right, but a lot of the scenes putting the apes to work, whipping them, and having Caesar stand up to them, it's reminiscent of those times. And a lot of the time, the slavery aspect of films, symbolism for slavery, it's overdone. And I'll admit, when I first saw it, when I saw Caesar captured, and I was like, all right, they're gonna put him in a concentration camp and work. I was like, this is overdone. I don't want to see it because it's too heavy, and we've seen it before, and we've probably seen it better done. And yes, we have seen it better. We have seen it done better. Done better. We've seen it in a non-blockbuster form. We've seen it well done. So we didn't need to see it again. But when I did see it, I was heartbroken, because you can see Caesar's people turning against them in the camp. They've given up. They've lost hope, because he abandoned them. He went off on his little Rambo mission, his revenge mission, to go kill the colonel for killing his family, and left the people. And he realized that when he's tossed in, he says, "What have I done?" Everybody, all the other apes, other than Lake, his son's mate, essentially his daughter-in-law, everybody realizes, and everybody looks to him and turns away. They've all lost hope. They don't see hope in their leader anymore, and that's contrasted from the very beginning, when you have that POV shot, the point of view shot, where he's walking through and they're all doing the ape thing, where they want you to touch their hand, and they respect him and love him and look to him for guidance. And not by the middle of the film, when they're captured, they turn away, and that's heartbreaking. And then they get put right back to work, and the orangutan falls and he gets whipped, and Caesar stands up for him. And it's at that point he's willing to give his life. And this part isn't sad. It's powerful. it's not exactly happy, but it's a powerful moment where the Apes, they stop and they're like, yes, that is our leader. He hasn't abandoned us. He may have been down, but he hasn't abandoned us. And from there on, you can see the Apes, they're all together, the Apes together strong, whether it be from Nova bringing them food, or bringing Caesar food, and Rocket not sacrificing himself, but giving himself up, and maybe his plan was to get captured in the beginning, giving himself up, and they're all donating their food to Caesar because he is their leader, and he's the one who's gonna get them through this. And that's powerful, that message of solidarity, and that if you stick together, you'll be fine. And that's some powerful stuff, and that's stuff that you don't see in blockbusters. I would love to see more War of the Planet of the Apes in the summer season. I'm tired of Transformers. 2 I'm tired of Spider-Man. Like that was a fun movie, but it didn't bring messages like this. And granted, this is a darker, more solemn movie, but the Planet of the Apes franchise has consistently brought in the summer, and they're very much summer blockbusters, but they're also something else. They've consistently brought it. And to be honest, I don't know if I want another one. I know they said they have another one planned, but I don't want to not see Andy Serkis in the role. Now that Caesar is gone, I'm not sure if I want them to go full remake the 1968 version, because in my opinion, that I haven't seen that, but it looks kind of cheesy, and we've seen it before, and I really liked what the series. Again, I really like what the series has done. So if Reeves comes back, if the production team or the producers come back and they have a clear vision, then I'm on board. But it's gonna be weird seeing an Apes movie without Caesar now. We're so used to it. Just as one last final note on the film, Bad Ape. He was hilarious. I don't care what anybody says. I see a lot of people comparing him to Jar Jar Binks, but his comedic performance, Steve Zahn's comedic performance as Bad Ape, it was needed in the film. Otherwise, you're going in there and it's a summer blockbuster. I keep having to emphasize this is a summer blockbuster, but it almost plays as an Oscar movie. And it's weird to be saying that for a film about talking apes, but it plays as a summer blockbuster, and you can't expect audiences to go in there and come out all sad. You need some sort of comedic relief, and Steve Zahn provides that. Bad Ape provides that, and it's not like he's unessential to the story. He is important to the story. He does provide something to the story other than just jokes, like stupid jokes. I almost said poo jokes, but Rocket's the really one who's flinging the poo. Other than binocular jokes. But anyways, that's my review for War of the Planet of the Apes. If you couldn't tell, I loved it. It's my number 3 on the year, only behind Get Out and Their Finest. In 2 weeks, I think I will be doing a top 10 of the year so far, depending on my schedule, but it's up there, and it's one of the best blockbusters to complete one of the best trilogies of all time. Hands down, one of the best trilogies of all time. And when you say best trilogies, many people might not think Apes, but these have consistently brought it with both fun and their message. So that's all for Cinema Chat. I'll be right back for free chat. Alright, free chat time. Now, it's been a while since I've talked about baseball, and this past week was the MLB-All Star break. So I just want to kind of talk about some of the news. There's a big trade, the Cubs and the White Sox. There's a big trade between them, and they're rumored to be looking at Sonny Gray as well from the A's, which is they're going all in again. And Theo Epstein doesn't seem to be satisfied with just one World Series ring. They're going in for it again. But I'll get back to that. Let's rewind all the way back to the All-Star break. The Home Run Derby. Aaron Judge, man. And And for baseball fans, I know you've got to be sick about hearing about Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has broken a window at the Rogers Center, or Skydome. The Skydome. He's broken a window at the hotel. Or he's hitting 520 feet bombs in batting practice. And I'll admit, I was kind of sick about hearing him too. I was tired of this Aaron Judge circle jerk without that. ESPN is leading, and ESPN, they tend to latch on to things like that. But after watching him in the home run derby, and after seeing he's had 30 home runs before at All Star break, he broke Joe DiMaggio's record for Yankee rookie, for a Yankee rookie. But this kid is insane. He's a good defender. He's fast because of how freaking big he is. But it wasn't until the home run derby that I realized this kid he's ridiculous. Like, I thought he was gonna choke, to be honest, going into the home run derby. I thought he was gonna do all right, but not live up to hype. But then I think he went up against Justin Bour in the second round, and Bour hit 22 home runs. And that's not easy. For those who don't know baseball as much, hitting a home run, even when you're that size, that's hard. You get tired. If you watch that home run derby, those guys, after 4 minutes of hitting bombs back to back to back to back, that gets tiring. It takes a lot of power to get those balls out of the park. And Aaron Judge is swinging them with ease. As I said, Justin Bour, he hit 22, which is a lot. That's a big number for 4 minutes. And then Judge goes up there, and every time he makes contact with the bat, it goes out. Even when he misses this, Cody Bellinger, another rookie who is spectacular, he was in the booth while he was hitting home runs, or while Judge was up to bat, and he's like, even when he's missing the ball, even when he's not getting the right contact, he's not hitting it the way he wants to, it's still going out, but just because of how powerful that guy is. Granted, he's 6'7", 200-something pounds, all muscle. But when you see other guys miss the ball, it gets popped up, and the kids in the outfield, which I think is hilarious. I don't know why. It just looks funny to me, seeing all these kids run around and chase the balls off that are hit off the bat. But when the other guys miss it, it gets popped up, or it goes foul out or whatever. When he misses it, they're home runs anyways. And then once he really hits it, he's going, I think he hit a 516-foot home run, which is ridiculous. That is so far. It hit the furthest part of the field, hit the windows. There was one that even hit the roof, and a ball has never hit in the roof. I think at a home run derby, I'm not sure the actual stat, or the actual fact, but it's never hit the roof in the Marlins Park. And they have Giancarlo Stanton, who is basically the older version of Judge. And that sounds like I'm saying Giancarlo Stanton is old, but he's not. He's still relatively young-ish. But he hits for relatively the same type of power that Judge does. But Judge is he's something else in and of itself. And granted, he is 25-year-old rookie. Whereas, as I mentioned before, Cody Bellinger, who's hitting a similar amount of home runs, he's 22. He just turned 22. But you know what? Judge he has at least 10 more years left in him. You can play up until you're around 40. I mean, barring any injuries, but he has a lot of good years ahead of him. And just because he's Yankee, and you guys know I freaking hate the Yankees as a Blue Jays fan, but he seems like an all-around good guy, too. He seems like a humble guy. On the back of his phone, he has 176 written on there to symbolize his percentage with the Yankees last year, and that motivates him. I remember ESPN was talking about how he had bought a hotel room when he was first called up because he didn't believe he was going to be up there for long. He believed in himself, but he's humble, and he doesn't take anything for granted, and he's a hell of a player. So I'm all aboard on the Aaron Judge train. And normally I get sick and tired of circle jerking over one player, but He's the real deal. Now the All-Star game. I'll admit, I was a little disappointed at first that the All-Star game didn't count for anything, quote unquote, didn't count. Because if you didn't know, the last few years, I think since 2002, I want to say, 2001 maybe, the All-Star game determined home field advantage in the World Series. Whoever won that gets home field advantage. But they took that out this year. So now the game is just what it was intended to be, just an exhibition game. And I wasn't all for it. I liked having stakes because I'm watching the MLB or the NBA All-Star game. They don't take it seriously at all. And it's not really all that fun because when I see all the best players coming together, I want to see it competitive. But MLB is a different beast because it's hard to show off in the way that they do in the NBA All-Star game because the pitchers, they really want to show that they can get the batters out and show that they can strike out or induce double plays or whatever. But the batters, they want to show the power they have. They want to show that they can hit off of the best pitchers. So inherently, you get a good, entertaining game. And it was a fun game. It was a low-scoring game. But my Blue Jays, your boy Justin Smoke, he went 1-for-1 with a walk. He had 1,000 OBP, which is really cool. And Osuna, our young pitcher, 22 years old, youngest, I think it's the youngest Blue Jay to ever be selected to the All-Star game, had a perfect inning. Not a perfect inning, he had a clean inning. Induced a double, or pop up and then induce a double play. So proud of that guy too, after everything he's gone through in the past few weeks. It was a fun game. And the AL won. And for the first time, I was cheering for both the Yankees and Red Sox because you got to go with that American League pride. And Robinson Cano, a Seattle Mariner, and I don't hate the Seattle Mariners; they just trash. So I can't hate them. I feel bad for them, to be honest. He hit the go-ahead home run in the top of the 10th. Oh, it went into extra innings too. How about that? He hit an extra inning go-ahead home run in the 10th, and the AL won the game. So it was a great game. I can't deny that it was a great game. Running out of time now, so I did promise I would talk about the trade for the Cubs and the White Sox, and I'm seeing jokes like Chicago won that deal, yeah, but what's Chicago? They're both Chicago, you know. But the White Sox, they received some really good prospects, and Quintana's a great pitcher, and the Cubs have him for the next 3 years, and they have a young core. So this trade might have been a win-win. And now that they're going after Sonny Gray, they're looking to go all in after a really disappointing start. And I don't follow the Cubs that much, so I can't tell you about their pitching. But if they think that's where they need to beef up their roster, then that's what they got to do. And hopefully for them, it works out. Anyways, that's about it. That's all I have for today. Again, if you listen all the way to the end, thank you for listening. I just set up a new Twitter account just for the podcast, so I kept the same handle that I have. So in the description, the same Twitter handle will still be the same, but I switched my personal account over back to Chin-Quee 96, so that will be in the description as well. If you could share this, all the Pod and family friends, share this, all my movie friends, everybody, if you could share this, rate on iTunes, that really helps. Any ratings, well, preferably a good rating. I mean, if you didn't like it, then leave a comment as well, seeing where I can improve. But any rating helps. Any sharing helps. Thank you for listening, and I will chat with you guys next week.